Hello, welcome back to Topic 3, Measuring Planet Earth. This is Section 3.3, Latitude and Longitude. So what is a coordinate system? A coordinate system is a system of lines that used to identify any position on Earth. So it looks just like a grid. What is latitude? So latitude utilizes a coordinate system, except that latitude is just one part. Latitude is a measurement of distance in degrees north and south of the equator. So you look at your main line of latitude, the equator, and we look to see if we are north or south of this position. And the main line of latitude is, of course, the equator, which would be right here at 0 degrees. What is the maximum number of degrees of latitude? You can have a total of 90 degrees, either north or south of the equator. So if we measure from the equator, we can measure 90 degrees north or 90 degrees south of the equator. And each of these latitude measurements are measurements of the angular measurement from the equator. So if you measured about 45, which is halfway, this is a 45-degree angle from the equator, and so on. So this is a 10-degree angle, 20, 30, 40, and so on. So the most you can go from the equator is 90 north and 90 south. What are lines of latitude also called? They're also called parallels because if you see, they never touch each other. They all run parallel to one another. Some of the characteristics of lines of latitude is that they divide the Earth into northern and southern hemispheres. And latitude lines are drawn east to west and parallel, so the lines never meet. What is altitude? Altitude is the angle above the horizon. So if you measure from directly in front of you, you measure the angle above the horizon to get the altitude. How do you determine your latitude? Your altitude of Polaris equals your latitude in the northern hemisphere. So this is a rule that helps people circumnavigate the Earth. It's helped them for thousands and thousands of years. They've used the stars in order to locate their position. You still can do that today. And one main rule is with the North Pole star. So if you're in the northern hemisphere, Polaris is one of your guiding stars. And the rule is altitude equals latitude. What is longitude? Longitude is the measurement of distance in degrees east and west of the prime meridian. Okay, so we have prime meridian, and we're measuring east and west. What is the main line of longitude? That is the prime meridian. Another name for lines of longitude are meridians. The maximum number of degrees of longitude is 180, and you can go 180 degrees east or 180 degrees west. This is because the total number of degrees all the way around Earth would be 360. So if you divide that in two, we get 180, and so you have half of the Earth on the eastern half, and the other side is the western half. So you're measuring from the prime meridian to the 180-degree line east, or 180 degrees west, and you get to that same line of 180. So lines of longitude also have characteristics. They divide the Earth into eastern and western hemispheres. And they also are drawn from the North Pole to the South Pole, but they are not parallel to each other. They connect at each pole and then come down from that point. So they actually do meet and touch each other. Solar time is time that's measured based on observations of the sun. So noon is the time when the sun is reaching the highest point in the sky. And longitude is affected by time because 15 degrees of longitude is equal to 1 hour of time difference. And time zones are the way the world is broken up into 24 different regions of the globe, and it's loosely divided by longitude, where we use the same standard of time. So it's not completely straight up and down, as you could see. There are some differences based on political boundaries, and some are, they try in the United States keep it by whole states. You don't have different states broken in half. But overall, they're loosely based on longitude. So what's the international date line? This is the location at 180 degrees. So if you were at the prime meridian on one side of the globe, that would be at 0 degrees longitude. If you came on the other side of the globe, you'd find the 180 degree line. And this is where the east meets the west, and this is known as the international date line. If you were to cross the international date line, you would be at 2 different calendar days. The day on one side is different than the date to the other. Okay, so the date is 1 day earlier on the east side of this line than it is on the west. That concludes our notes for today. Tomorrow we're going to see this brain pop, and we'll talk about all the other issues with latitude and longitude, including latitude and longitude in New York State. See you next time.